Hello and welcome to the show. We have a great show planned today. We have our guest here is Mel Oliveira from the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, and he is also the past exalted ruler of the Lodge and New York State Americanism Chair. Welcome to the show, Mel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Angelo.
Maybe you want to just tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Elks and the background, just for the audience.
As you mentioned, I am a past exalted ruler of Rotterdam Lodge, number 2157 over here in Rotterdam, and I am currently the State Americanism Chairman for New York State. I've been involved with the Elks for about 10 years now as an officer in different capacities, and currently my focus is on Americanism within the state and helping to spread the good word of elkdom.
Well, great. That's great. We're happy to have you here. And a lot of people I find, and I'm a member of the Elks Club, and a lot of people still I find don't know exactly what the Elks Club stands for, what the meaning behind it is. So I thought we'd start off the show with, and I was on your website, and the first thing that pops up, who are the Elks? And maybe we can just kind of expand on that a little bit.
Yep, the Elks are a benevolent organization. They started back in the late 1800s. A group of actors got together and they started out as basically like a social group, but then it expanded from there into helping the community out in different ways. So the main focus now of the Elks is that we help the community. We help the youth in the community, the veterans, you know, different organizations to basically spread the word of Americanism and to help them out in various aspects.
And I know in the town of Rotterdam, we're both residents there, and every year the Flag Day parade is something that the Elks is involved with. I think that's put on by the Elks.
Right. Flag Day is one of the biggest annual things that the Elks does. The Elks were the primary organization responsible for putting Flag Day on the calendar, so to speak. You know, Flag Day, June 14th. Every Elks Lodge throughout the country has a service and other celebrations. Rotterdam Lodge, we have our parade, and we have our service after the parade.
And you kind of mentioned this already in talking about the Flag Day, but you know, in Rotterdam and in Schenectady County, we know the local lodge, but it's a much bigger organization statewide and even across the country.
Right.
I guess statewide, is it, what are the numbers, just to get an idea of how big the...
Statewide, there's over 120 lodges in 17 districts throughout New York State. Throughout the country, there's over 2,000 lodges. Encompassing over 880,000 members.
Wow, very impressive.
You know, that number's kind of dwindled over the past few years, and so we try to boost up membership and get more people involved. But yeah, 2,000 lodges we have throughout the country, all doing the great deeds of elkdom. Very,
very large organization, and you might have mentioned, when did it get started? What year was it? You know,
1868. Okay, that's the year when they started it. Yep.
Been around for quite a bit.
It's been around a while.
And how about the Rotterdam Lodge itself? How
Rotterdam has been here since 1960, so
okay.
We recently celebrated our 50th anniversary a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so now we're at what, 52 years of service to the community.
Well, that's great to hear. And the Rotterdam Lodge, from what I understand, holds an interesting stat as well. Being the largest in the state, is that correct?
Correct. Yep. Rotterdam Lodge has the largest membership in New York State. Of all of the 120 plus lodges that we have.
So that's a pretty
we have over 2,200 members in Rotterdam Lodge.
And your membership for each lodge is not limited to the town that it's in. I mean, it crosses borders and stuff. You can be in the areas around.
You can. When a person becomes a member of the Elks, and let's step back and talk about what are the membership requirements of the Elks. The first one is you have to be over the age of 21. You have to be a citizen of the United States of America. and you have to believe in God. So those are the three primary requirements to become an elk. Okay. Then you typically become an elk in your area. So Rotterdam Lodge, we would have elks from the Schenectady area.
Okay.
And then we have other lodges in this area that they would go to: Scotia, Guilderland, Colony, Clifton Park, and they spread out. So you can be a member of a lodge outside of your area if you move, for instance, but typically we try to have the members reside in their area.
And so, like particular districts, is that the districts you mentioned earlier? Okay.
Yeah, districts are like groups of lodges in an area. So Rotterdam, Colony, Guilderland, and there's 7 total, are all within one district.
And there's always, so these lodges are, you know, kind of in the same geographic area from a state standpoint. Are there? What's the affiliation between the lodges? I know that there's conventions and things. Is that when you all get together and talk about issues like membership and other things going on? The heads of the lodges kind of meet? Correct.
Yes, there's, on a national basis, we have an annual convention in the month of July. It normally has been in the first week of July over past history. Actually, it is currently ongoing right now in Austin, Texas. And then each state has conventions and conferences based upon their schedule. New York State, for instance, has a convention in spring and then a conference in the fall in September. And during these conventions and conferences, there's a lot of information provided, workshops held on many of the programs and aspects of elkdom and what we are working on in the community.
And just jumping back to membership real quick, so if a member of the community wanted to be an elk, what would be the process? Would they come into the lodge and say, hey, is there an application? How do I, you know, what's the first step?
Yep, every candidate is required to have a sponsor.
Okay.
So typically, your friend, you happen to know someone who is an elk, you approach that person and say, hey, I'd be very interested in becoming an elk, you know, can you sponsor me? So that person would get them an application and sponsor them into the Elks. They fill out the application, they go through a process, you know, where they are invited into the lodge, taught what elkdom is about, voted on by the membership of the lodge, and then accepted into the order and initiated, and they become a full-fledged member.
And and I remember going through that process, but the other part of it, I guess, is that there's, and then, you know, you are a past exalted ruler, but there's also other officers and members at some point are eligible to become an officer and actually be more involved with the lodge.
Absolutely. Any member can become an officer of the lodge. There are 7 different positions. The exalted ruler is the top position or the leader of the lodge. And then he has officers and committee members below him, because as I mentioned, we have several different programs that we work on: Americanism, veterans, drug awareness, youth activities, a lot of different programs that we cover through, you know, in the lodge to help the community out. So we need committee members for all of them and officers to help support the exalted ruler as well.
Yeah, and it seems like, and I do get the newsletter, and the Rotterdam Lodge is very, very active, and there seems like there's always something going on where people can get together, and all for a good cause. And I know one of the things I see almost every Friday now in the newsletter is a major projects dinner. Is it a dinner or?
It's a major projects dinner we have during the summertime every Friday, and that's to help raise money for major projects. Let me explain major projects. Every state has what they call a major project where they raise money. New York State raises money for cerebral palsy. So each lodge within New York State develops a program to raise money. And Rotterdam Lodge has, during the summers, their deck parties where people can come over, enjoy a good meal, hamburgers, hot dogs, and all of the proceeds go to help cerebral palsy.
Yeah, that's certainly, and that's just one of many that's one of many things that the lodge is involved with. And I was looking on your website, and it was quite informative. There's a lot of information about the Elks. I'm going to give out that website just real quick here: www.elks.org. If anybody wants to go on the website, if you miss anything here, we don't get into all the details. They can certainly visit that website. To contact a local lodge, Mel, would that be, and you just could look it up in the phone book, or if they're able to get to the website, I'm sure there was a section where you could put in your location and it would find it for you. But if someone doesn't have access to the web, they can look it up.
Right.
Somewhere.
Every lodge is in the phone book, so if they do not have access to the internet, they can go to their phone book and look for Elks lodges or for BPOE, Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. They, depending on how the lodge submits it to the phone directory, it may be under one of those two. But again, as you said, if they do have access to the internet, they go to elks.org, and there's a lodge locator that they can click on, type in their zip code, and it will present them with a list of the local lodges in their area.
And very user-friendly, very easy to use. Definitely recommend looking into that if you do have access to the internet at home. Some of the other things. Now you are the State Americanism Chair. What exactly does that mean, and what's involved with being the Americanism Chair?
Well, Americanism within the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks involves a few different programs that we offer, but then also it involves just the high level of presenting Americanism to our community. What is Americanism about? What, how do we spread the word of Americanism and patriotism? And we do that through a couple different ways. First one is we have an Americanism essay contest that we present to all of the children in grades 5 through 8. So they can compete in this in two divisions, 5th and 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, and they usually, every year we have a theme, and they have to write an essay, and they submit their entry to their local lodge, and it goes through a selection process. They can win at the lodge level, the district level, the state level, and then also at the national level. So it's a nice way to get the children involved and learn what Americanism is about.
What would a typical essay theme or a question be?
Why am I happy to pledge allegiance to the flag?
Okay.
What does it mean to be American, to be an American? Those are a couple different themes that we've had recently.
And the response, the involvement is pretty good. You get a lot of people participating.
Yep, we do. We get quite a few kids. A lot of times they'll do it through the schools as an exercise in their school, where they will have it as a class assignment, and the teachers are really excited about getting those essays into the lodges. And the kids are happy about it too. They can win little gift cards to Barnes and Noble, or every lodge has their own award system that they can create for the contest.
And it's very good. It's a good way for kids to get involved and kind of really think about those questions, and something that maybe you don't think about every day, and kind of fun to compete against other students as well.
Yep, exactly. Another way that we spread Americanism, as you mentioned, Flag Day.
Yeah.
That is a big part of Flag Day, or of Americanism, in that every lodge has to conduct a Flag Day service, and that's conducted June 14th. Several lodges do different things. So Rotterdam has a parade. Other lodges have other sort of events with the community, but you engage the community to show them what Flag Day and patriotism are about. Memorial Day, getting involved. If your community has a local Memorial Day parade, the Elks will typically be a participant in that. And then pretty much every event that we have in our lodge that involves Americanism, the Elks are continually involved in the community to teach them what is the flag about, what is it to be a patriot. Veterans support throughout the community. Almost every lodge has a veterans program where we support our veterans that have fought for us, that have endured the hardships of being in the military, or that are currently involved in the military. So we have a lot of programs to help support them as well.
And later on in Veterans Day as well, there's things that go on with that.
Exactly.
And I've attended those events, and they're very informative every year, kind of refresh what they mean. And you know, you see there's a lot of attendance, and it's a good community event overall.
Right. Absolutely.
And I guess along those, did you want to have some other Americanism items you wanted to share?
That covered the Americanism that I wanted to present to everybody. Again, you know, that, you know, when you look at the requirements of what it is to be an elk, one of the main requirements is being a citizen of the United States of America, and Americanism is just key in that whole thing, you know, out there continually spreading the word, what it is, and especially in today's times, I think it's overly important to make sure that we're spreading that word.
And being the state Americanism chair, is there more involved that's beyond the lodge itself?
In my role as state Americanism chair, I have 17 districts that I am working with. So all of the lodges are encompassed in districts, and each district has a chair, and those 17 districts within New York State, I'm working with all of them to help spread the word of Americanism, because again, it's a huge task. Not one person can do it. We all have to work together on it. So we built a good structure to help do that.
Well, that's great. I appreciate your efforts in that. Definitely a good cause. I wanted to jump over to we got this off the website as well, and we talked about it before the show. The Elks National Foundation is also something else that's a very big piece of this of the Elks Club.
Right. When you look at elkdom, and again, what is it about? The community. You know, working with the community to help spread, you know, the word of the good word of different programs. As I mentioned, drug awareness, veterans, youth activities. Elks National Foundation is one of our big national programs that we have for that. And what it is it's a foundation where we raise money. It's all put into this fund, and then the money is paid back out to the states, to the communities, to help in several different ways. This year, Elks National Foundation plans on spending out from the fund $23.6 million to the community in different ways. One of those ways that they're going to dole that money back out is through scholarships. The Elks National Foundation is second only to the federal government in the amount of money that we hand back out in scholarships to our youth. And this year, we're going to give out $3.59 million to students throughout the United States.
Very impressive.
You know, and that ranges from, you know, $1,000 grants, $1,000 scholarships, all the way up to $15,000 a year, 4-year scholarships, like $60,000 total to 2 students each year that we hand out.
And that's very impressive, and that goes a long way in these communities, I think, for students that are trying to get through to their higher education.
Exactly. In today's times where it's really difficult and the cost of education is so high, you know, the Elks National Foundation is, again, always doing what it can to help the community and to help the youth, you know, continue to move forward with their education.
Now, how are these? How do students compete for the scholarships and some of the
they can go to, well, the easiest way is they can go to elks.org, and there's information on the scholarships.
Okay.
There's what we call a MVS scholarship, Most Valuable Student scholarship, that that seniors can apply to every year. Some scholarships, in order to apply for them, you have to be the son or a daughter of an elk.
Okay.
But others are open to the entire community out there. So, you know, the best way is to go to elks.org, find out what the requirements are, and apply for the scholarships so that you can get them, or you have the best opportunity of getting them.
And of course, you know, again, if you don't have access to the internet for whatever reason, stop into the lodge.
Stop into the local lodge, and also your guidance counselor
Oh, the
typically
schools.
has
Okay.
copies of the scholarship application, because the lodges will go out to the schools and
Oh, and that
provide
helps.
the
That must, yeah,
applications
that
to
helps
them
a lot
there.
too.
Yep.
And so you can get it right through your school. That's really convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are so I looked through the website on some of the programs. I know the Elks National is involved with several, if not quite a few here, veterans programs.
There's several veterans programs that the Elks National Foundation is involved in, helping vets, like as I mentioned, vets who are overseas. Every year, lodges can apply for grants, and they determine what those grants are going to be used for when they apply for them. But a lot of lodges will apply for grants to help veterans and to help veterans programs. We go to the VA hospital all the time. You know, every month there's a program at the VA hospital where the Elks are helping, whether it's having bingo or providing ice cream and popcorn to the vets, or a lunch breakfast for them. You know, we've got the 4th of July coming up here in a few days, and Rotterdam Lodge was over there at the VA hospital this past weekend providing breakfast for the veterans over there. So, you know, a lot of different things on veterans-wise. But Elks National Foundation also supports other programs like the Hoop Shoot, the Soccer Shoot, drug awareness programs. So there are a few other programs that we support as well.
And I see they're listed on, again, referring back to the website, www.elks.org. These programs are all listed, and I think you can click on each name and get some more information even than what's listed here.
Right.
And I even see there's a drug awareness program that they have as well. And some, we talked about the scholarships. What about the community investment programs?
Community investment programs, that's actually a newer program that we have. And that program is really Elks National Foundation through impact grants and other types of grants, giving money out to the community through each lodge to try to help the community out. Okay, this year they plan on giving out $6.5 million in community programs. Rotterdam Lodge, for instance, has a program that we've now been sponsoring for 2 years here with autism, where we have sensible movies played at Proctor's, and the Elks has been, you know, one of the main groups, along with ARC and Proctor's, in hosting that, so that we can provide these movies to the youth of the community. You know.
And I've seen those advertised in some of the newsletters around around town.
Yep. Another area, we a few years back got a grant to help with Steinmetz Park, to overhaul the park. So that's a couple of ways in which Rotterdam Lodge is, you know, provided to the community. But there are lodges throughout that host bowling tournaments for kids that are covered through grant money. They may host a summer camp week for kids. I think it's Lockport Lodge in New York. They host a summer camp for a week, and they have kids, you know, go to that summer camp. And then there are other lodges that will have meals at the lodge for people. You know, just a lot of community things that are conducted by each of the lodges in their own way.
And I know, just from living in the town in Rotterdam, the lodge is very involved in the community, and I'm sure that the other lodges are just as involved as well. And that's a lot of community service happening across the country because of this organization, and we certainly appreciate your involvement with that. Right. Just lastly, for the audience at home, because they're probably wondering, and I know I asked this question, the pins, all the pins. Just a quick explanation of
pins on the jacket,
what they represent. Or
every pin has its own unique meaning. For example, the one at the top here is my pin when I was exalted ruler. Every time when someone becomes exalted ruler, they will go ahead and they will create their own pin, and that's kind of a token that they can hand out to people and say, hey, thank you for helping me out during my year, or, you know, welcome to Elkdom. So as you travel around in elkdom throughout the country, you can trade pins with other lodges, with other exalted rulers and all. So I've collected pins throughout the whole country. You know, some of them have a significance to me, and others, you know, this one here up at the top, God Bless America, as the pin for our Grand Exalted Ruler in his campaign. This year, our Grand Exalted Ruler is from New York State, so that was a very significant event, you know, to be able to, kind of neat to wear his pin.
Well, you probably have so many that you can't wear them all at once.
Nope, can't wear them all. I've got hundreds, but elks throughout the country just enjoy trading their pins and then showing them off to everyone.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. Probably answered a lot of questions at home. I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you for sharing with us a lot of information that probably is not as well known to the general public about the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks. We look forward to having you back on. Thank you for serving as State Americanism Chair, and we appreciate all your service that you do being involved with the Elks Club.
Yep, thank you, Angelo.
Thank you
I really
very much.
looked forward, you know, I enjoyed time here, and look forward to doing a lot more for elkdom and for the community. Again, we're always looking for more people to get involved, so anyone who's interested in elkdom, go ahead and go to the website, elks.org, call your local lodge, talk to your friends. They're probably elks already, and we can definitely get you involved.
Thank you, Mel. Okay. And join us here next time when we will have another organization to talk about things going on in our community. Thank you for joining us.